Hello guys, welcome to this channel, the Health and Wellness Spot, and this is Dr. Lewis, and this is the channel that gives you insight on the daily basis about health-related issues, about the myths around healthcare, and also about all those misconceptions that you have around healthcare. So this is the right channel for you to correct those misconceptions about health, drugs, and healthcare in general. And today we are excited to bring you a very, very good topic about fat-soluble vitamins and also water-soluble vitamins. What are the differences? What are the advantages? And basically, what are the sources of these vitamins? So that when you consume that meal, you know where to source them. So you know what types of meals you're getting these vitamins from. And from that, you maximize on the benefits of the vitamins. So generally, vitamins are classified into two major groups: the water-soluble vitamins and the fat-soluble vitamins. Now, the fat-soluble vitamins, just from the name, it means they can solubilize or they can dissolve only in fat. They cannot dissolve in water. The water-soluble vitamins are soluble in water. Okay, and that's the reason why they float easily in blood and they are filtered in the kidneys, because the kidneys can only filter small molecules, so you can get water-soluble vitamins, the B vitamins and the C vitamin, in urine. Again, that's another advantage because that prevents you from getting into toxicity as a result of B vitamins, because they are excreted in urine and they are not stored in the body. On the other hand, the fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K, these are basically, they dissolve into the cell membrane of the cell and get into the cell, deeper into the nucleus. So the cell membrane, so the cell is made up of different organelles, and these organelles are encompassed or enclosed in a lipid bilayer that is called a cell membrane. That is basically fat, okay? And these fat-soluble vitamins, they dissolve in that membrane, they get into the cell, they go into the nucleus, and they are stored in these cells. And most of them are stored in the liver. And that's a risk because they can cause toxicity because they are stored in the body and they are not excreted. Remember, in blood, they are being transported attached to plasma globulins or to blood proteins that are carrier proteins for all these molecules. So these proteins attach like albumin. It attaches on these fat-soluble vitamins and then helps in transportation. And since they come as attached to a protein, they become a bigger molecule, and that's why they cannot be filtered through the kidneys, okay? And that poses you a risk of toxicity. For example, vitamin A, very good for your vision, very good for your immunity and identification of different cells and immune cells, okay? And also fighting viruses. However, on the higher end, it can cause you a very serious problem of toxicity. And again, for pregnant women, vitamin A is highly teratogenic, so it means it affects your growing fetus. Therefore, you have to be very careful with those skin products that you buy that has vitamin A when you are pregnant. So now, let's jump straight into it. That was just a brief introduction. Before you start handling any health condition, be it obesity, be it diabetes, hypertension, cancer, chronic conditions, and even boosting your immunity. And also, before you start a journey to recover from these vitamin deficiencies, then you have to know that the number one step in healthcare is fixing your gut. So you need to start by fixing your gut. What do I mean by fixing your gut? Most of us who have these deficiency conditions and these healthcare issues, chances are high that your gut is messed up. So you've consumed wheat products, you've consumed seed oils and sugar and these inflammatory foods that have messed up your gut severely, and therefore you get into malnutrition because you cannot absorb those nutrients in their adequate amount. And that's the reason why I always insist on dropping seed oils, wheat products, processed carbohydrates, and sugar. And the reason is you want to fix your gut, including fasting. So if you start fasting, then you start fixing your gut. And that is the first step to recovery from any health condition. So do not just start by consuming these vitamins and the sources that I'll mention in the video. You have to start by fixing your gut. Once you drop those foods and you start fasting, your gut wall heals. Once the gut wall heals, now you graduate to the next step, which means you have to start fixing your major organs in the body. And the major one being the liver. So fixing the liver helps you to now start breaking down other nutrients and absorbing them in their best form, and also utilizing them optimally. Also, it will start burning fat because now you'll recover from a fatty liver. Once you recover from a fatty liver, then definitely your insulin resistance, your obesity, all these hormone synthesis, all these issues with the vitamins start to disappear because now your liver can assimilate them in their optimum forms. So you have to fix that. And specifically for these vitamins, both water-soluble and fat-soluble vitamins, you have to fix the liver specifically to help you detoxify them from the system also. Again, remember that the liver plays a very important role in production of bile. And this bile is stored in the gallbladder. And when you eat a fatty meal, once that meal hits the duodenum, the small intestines, then it activates the production of a hormone that is called cholecystokinin. That hormone causes or signals the gallbladder to contract to release that bile. Now, that bile is very important in solubilization or emulsification of fat. So if you've eaten a high-fat diet and you have a fatty liver or you have hepatitis, you will have a problem in assimilating this fat and also solubilizing this fat, because bile salts are the one that sequester this fat to make it easy for the pancreatic juices to come in and break it down even further for you to absorb them in their adequate forms. That tells you if you are an alcoholic, if you have a fatty liver, if you have pancreatitis, if you're consuming wheat products, seed oils, and those inflammatory foods, you're messing up your liver, you're messing up your pancreas, and therefore you will end up having problems with this absorption of these vitamins. And that's the reason why people who have pancreatitis and hepatitis will take out stool that is fatty. It's called steatorrhea. So your stool floats on the toilet. It doesn't, when you flush it, it doesn't go. It just floats on the water because it has a layer of fat that is preventing it from being flushed. That tells you you're not absorbing any fat from your diet. Also, you're not absorbing fat-soluble vitamins. So that is basically what you're supposed to understand. Once you fix your gut and you fix your liver and your pancreas, then of course fat-soluble vitamins will be easy for you to absorb, and that will start to make sense. So number one vitamin on the fat-soluble vitamins is vitamin E. I told you it's DECA for those who want the mnemonic or those who want the acronym. So DECA or ADEK. So vitamin E is basically the easiest one on this group of fat-soluble vitamins. And vitamin E's role is just antioxidation. So it's an antioxidant. And that means it reduces the oxidative stress in your cells, in your heart muscles, in your blood vessels, and therefore you will not have that atherosclerosis. You will not have that issues with the heart and that coronary heart disease, that pumping of the heart, the muscle becomes so flexible because of vitamin E. And also your cells start to rejuvenate. So oxidative stress to the cell is the reason why you get into that cancer and that metabolic syndrome. And therefore, if you consume diets that are rich in vitamin E, then of course you will start getting into this oxidative stress will start disappearing. Those reactive species, this vitamin E helps the body to clear these reactive species in the system, and therefore you recover from oxidative stress for that matter. Okay. Then the next one has to be vitamin D. But before vitamin D, because it's an in-depth one, let me handle vitamin K, which is basically a one that is used in coagulation or basically blood clotting. Now, vitamin K, one thing you should note about vitamin K, it is not excreted or secreted or is not in breast milk. Let me not just use that. Let me just not throw that word around. Let me just tell you the truth is vitamin K is not in breast milk. And therefore, if your child has a problem with blood clotting, do not rely on breast milk for it to help you to recover to help your child to recover or your baby to recover from that coagulation problem. Vitamin K has to be given then by injection. That's why most of the maternity wards have vitamin K as injectables, because there is no vitamin K in breast milk. That is one thing that you should note about vitamin K. And then vitamin K helps you basically synthesize factors that are involved in coagulation, which means blood clotting. And therefore, if you have a deficiency in vitamin K, you start having issues with coagulation, with blood clotting. And this is the mechanism that is actually tapped in when they're utilizing those drugs that are supposed to help you recover from thrombosis or those the blood clots in your system, the pulmonary thrombosis. And one of those drugs, the common drug in this group is called warfarin. So vitamin K helps you synthesize the factors that are involved in blood clotting. Factor number 2, 7, 9, 10, and then two proteins, that protein C and protein S. Those are just basically factors or proteins that are involved in blood clotting. So what warfarin does, it inhibits the process under which vitamin K helps you convert proteins into all these factors that will help in blood clotting. And once you block that channel of synthesizing these coagulation factors, then of course your blood will start to thin, then you'll start clearing those clots. And that's the reason why you use warfarin in heart conditions and in those coagulation issues that involve thrombi or blood clots in your blood vessels. So warfarin utilizes this mechanism. Okay, and vitamin K is highly abundant We've talked about sauerkraut, the fermented cabbage, every other time. Vitamin K is basically rich. That fermented cabbage is rich in vitamin K because, again, remember, vitamin K is rich in vegetables, green leafy vegetables, and also cruciferous vegetables. Therefore, fermented cabbage has high content of vitamin K. So you should start utilizing that. Now, the next one has to be vitamin D, sorry. Now, vitamin D, we already said that vitamin D is in your skin. So you can synthesize vitamin D in your skin. The only thing you need is exposure to UV radiation. Now, UV radiation is the sun. Therefore, those people who think that the sun will give you skin cancer, that is so skewed. Okay, for the Africans, we have a very healthy skin that has melanin, and it helps you to control that UV radiation. Now, that UV radiation is very important. This is another reason why I also tell you to go and have a walk in the sun, because you need that that UV radiation to activate vitamin D. Now, remember, vitamin D has different roles in the body. Number one being immunity. So it helps you in immunity, it helps you in regulation of blood pressure, it helps you to fight inflammation in the system, and therefore systemic inflammation starts to disappear once you get to adequate vitamin D in your system. Once you do that, then other functions are this. Now, there's one function that's very confusing, but I'll get to it. In the kidneys, vitamin D helps you to reabsorb calcium. So vitamin D is very important in calcium reabsorption in the kidneys and in the duodenum, so the small intestines. So once you reabsorb calcium from the distal convoluted tubule in the kidneys, then the blood level of calcium starts to go up. Also, once you absorb calcium from the duodenum, then again blood calcium levels start to go up. Another point, vitamin D is basically important in bone resorption. Now, we are expecting that vitamin D is supposed to be there for the strong bones, and therefore, why is it taking calcium from the bone back into the blood? That's a question, because once you look at this, you see that vitamin D destroys the bone. So it gets calcium from the bone into the blood. And the reason that is because this calcium in the bone is not as strong as you would want it until it is combined with phosphorus. So vitamin D does bone resorption. Then this calcium in the blood is get combined with phosphorus, which is being absorbed in diets and being absorbed in the kidneys, and then creates a compound that is now deposited back into the bones to make it a stronger bone. Which means if you have vitamin D deficiency, then definitely for children we will have rickets, which are those curved legs, and for all elderly people who will get into osteomalacia, those brittle bones. Okay, so vitamin D plays that role of resorbing the bone, and then again sending the calcium that has been combined with phosphorus to the bone to make it even more stronger. Again, vitamin D in the skin is just cholesterol. So vitamin D comes from cholesterol. Now you activate that cholesterol to form inactive vitamin D. The inactive vitamin D is basically 23-hydroxy vitamin D3. Now that 25-hydroxy vitamin D3 is the storage form of vitamin D. And therefore, for the students, if you're being confused between the two forms and you're being asked which form of vitamin D is present for storage or is available for storage in the liver, then that has to be 25-hydroxy vitamin D3. Now, for you to remember, just know that we have 25, and once you activate this 25-hydroxy vitamin D3 in the kidneys, then you get 1,25-dihydroxy vitamin D3. Now, we have two kidneys, so that's how you remember it. We have two kidneys. So we have only one liver, so 25 will be in the liver for storage, and we have two kidneys, so that is 1 and 25. So we have 1,25-di, because there are two hydroxy groups. So this 1,25-dihydroxy vitamin D3. Now this 1,25-dihydroxy vitamin D3 is the active form of vitamin D. And this one is the one that is used or utilized peripherally. So it is not stored. So the storage form of vitamin D is 25-hydroxy vitamin D3. And it's stored in the liver. So that is for the students. Now, that is vitamin D. Okay. How about vitamin A? Vitamin A is very important, and all of us know it. That's the reason why you're told eat carrots. Eat carrots when you're growing up. You're told if you have struggled having vision, they will easily tell you should eat carrots, because vitamin A is rich in carrots. The only problem is nowadays carrots are so much GMO, and we don't even have an idea if they totally have vitamin A or just the scam as usual. However, vitamin A plays also several roles in your system. Number one being identification of cells in the body. That is the reason why vitamin A is utilized in immunity and also in fighting viral diseases. And that's the reason why vitamin A can be used in treating measles. So I want you to remember that all these conditions that we experience, all these health issues, can be sorted if your diet and your gut is fixed. Now, people who have diabetes, they have malabsorption of these vitamins. So they experience this, and apart from just fat-soluble vitamins, they also experience a problem with the B vitamins. So if you have a problem with vitamin A, that tells you the body cannot fight viruses. And this is the reason why during the COVID season, the people who were highly affected are the people who had low immunity. So those people who had low vitamin D and low vitamin A. And since vitamin A is supposed to help you in fighting viruses, so the coronavirus virus affected so many people who had obesity, diabetes, and vitamin A deficiency. So you need to start fighting that. If you're experiencing a common cold all the time, chances could be high you have a deficiency in vitamin A. And if you top up your vitamin A, but remember, vitamin A is highly toxic. So you must know how much of it you should consume. Okay? Do not overdo it. But if you have it enough in your system, then it's very healthy because, again, if you have functional livers, the liver will just detoxify it and clear it from the system. So vitamin A is very important in cellular identification and fighting viruses, and that's why it's used in fighting mumps. It's also used for healthy skin. That's why if you have all these issues with vitamin A deficiency, you get into those skin tags and all these issues, and insulin resistance plays also a major role in that. Vitamin A also plays a role in fertility. So most women who are infertile, most women who are trying to get a child, even the men, vitamin A is very important for you to get your fertility back. And again, it's an antioxidant. Just like vitamin E, vitamin A plays a very important role in antioxidation as an antioxidant in those cellular activities. Then again, activation. On this activation, vitamin A activates all epithelial cells, the cells that line the testicle, the cells that line the gut. It activates them to differentiate, even the bone marrow, it activates it to differentiate into different cells so that you get adequate organ function. Therefore, if you have a deficiency, again, your organs will start having an issue because there is no epithelial cell differentiation. Okay? Good. Then, an excess of vitamin A will land you in trouble. Number one, you'll start losing hair. So if you have excess amount of vitamin A, you'll start losing hair, even if you have the vision now, because you can see, you can have night vision, or those who have deficiency will get into night blindness though. So it's playing a role in vision. However, an excess of it will start causing you hair loss and skin issues. Okay, and then abnormal pregnancies. This just means you will have congenital effects in your baby or in your fetus. So that tells you, women, if you're taking skincare products, okay, and they have vitamin A, if you're taking that acne gel that has vitamin A, and you know you are pregnant, you will have a problem because vitamin A is teratogenic. It affects your growing pregnancy or your baby. So it might bring issues in your pregnancy, and that's why it's highly toxic in pregnant women. So do not even consider using those skincare products when you are pregnant. If you want to get vitamin A, then get it from diets, and we will mention what will be utilized for you to tap in vitamin A enough in the diet, and then fix your liver so that if there's excess, it can detoxify it. Okay? Good. So those are basically fat-soluble vitamins. Now, vitamin B, which is the water-soluble vitamins, has a very huge variety of other vitamins, starting from vitamin B1, B2, B3, B5, 6, 7, 9, and 12. The reason why we skipped 4, we've also skipped 8 and 10 is because they do not qualify to be classified as vitamins. Okay? They were present, of course, but they do not qualify in the criteria that was used to classify vitamins. And therefore, the remaining ones are major classes. We talked about vitamin B12 and its deficiency. We've talked about vitamin B6. We will also talk about all these other vitamins in extensive videos so that you get to understand the deficiencies and how they play a very good role in your system. Vitamin C, we also talked about it and the sources, but however, just understand that vitamin C plays an important role in immunity and also development of collagen. So that tissue, those joints, that bone, if you have an issue with development of those, then you start to have to tap vitamin C from your diet. So basically, those are fat-soluble and a sneak peek of water-soluble vitamins. Finally, what are the sources of these vitamins? Because we cannot just talk about them. We've fixed our gut, we've fixed our liver, we've now known the importance of these vitamins in our system. So where do we get them from? They are highly abundant in diets. Okay? So those supplements, put them on a hold, get into their diets. Number one, the superfoods. The liver has high content of all these vitamins in plenty. The egg, so those two are superfoods definitely. Okay, so if you want vitamin K, and then you can add fermented cabbage, or these cruciferous vegetables, the spinach, the broccoli, the cauliflower. These have high content of vitamin K. However, the eggs, and make sure these eggs are the ones that are coming from grass-fed chicken. Why am I saying that? Because remember, that is green, and chlorophyll is the one that has high content of these vitamins. And therefore, if chicken feeds on this, chicken are what they feed on. So poultry meat, including that poultry fat, very important for ADE and K. The eggs, the yolks to be specific, important diet for A, D, E, and K vitamins, also the B vitamins. The liver. Now, these ones have to be made fatty because, again, you remember they are fat-soluble vitamins, so therefore you need to cook your liver using animal fat or sprinkle some olive oil on it, or the ghee, then consume your liver. Do not overcook the liver because you will destroy the vitamins in the liver, or you will also mess up other nutrients in the liver. Remember, these vitamins don't come on their own. They come as combinations. So you can mess up the combination of these vitamins, and that will bring you a lot of problems. So all organ meats, make them fatty. The liver, the egg and the egg yolks, fish, the fatty fish, the cod liver oil. The fish oils also are very rich in this, the poultry, and all sorts of poultry. Plus, that's why we insist on consuming the poultry skin, because it has high content of fat. And that fat is the one that has a high content of A, D, E, and K. Butter has also high content of A, D, E, and K. And above all animal fats should be utilized in your cooking. So once you do that, then definitely you'll never have a problem with deficiency of all these vitamins.